Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but we want to give a shout out to our partners. These are all companies that you should add to your network. The Global Community of Women in High School Sports, We Coach, the Florida Coaches Coalition, and Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Check them out, and again, add them to your network. And now, please don't hit that fast forward button. Stay with us for the next 3 minutes. We're going to share our sponsors with you. These are companies that I used as an athletic director. You should be using them too. Here we go. We want to thank Gipper for their support of the podcast. Gipper is the exclusive social media graphic solution for the Educational AD Podcast. And if you go to Gipper.com, their team is going to show you how to create world-class marketing content to help promote your school through your social media channel. Your kids are on social media, and if you're not, you're really missing out on a great opportunity to promote your athletes, celebrate your teams. Go to Gipper.com, mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. That's Gipper.com. We also want to say thanks to Snap Mobile. Are you tired of spending hours and hours with a fundraiser that gives you little, if any, return? Stop right here. Go to snapraise.com/EDAD. SnapRaise is hands down the best online fundraiser. We used it at our school with great success. And the best part is it actually works. Go over to snapraise.com. You'll also find other powerful tools for athletic directors like Snap Store, Snap Manage, Snap Connect to help you do your job better. And you're automatically entered into a $1,500 drawing for your next fundraiser. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website, check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to showcase your school record boards, your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell your school story and share your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Mention the podcast, you'll get a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thank you to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. I don't think I need to say anything more. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, more customization. Talk to the team at Hometown Ticketing. They're here to help you make the best online ticketing solution. We want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure our school was a Huddle school, and our coaches just loved the tools that Huddle provided that helped them coach our kids up to the highest level. At Huddle, we believe in sports, and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users. Turn your school into a Huddle school. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule a live web demo to see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Their products not only generate income for your department, they also create the ultimate game day experience for your student athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We want to say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is the exclusive high school and state association management platform. For us, it's also your one-stop platform for things like scheduling, student athlete eligibility and clearance, and a whole lot more. Go to homecampus.com. As an athletic director, I used it every day, and it was just fantastic, and their staff is fantastic too. To get signed up, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. And we want to thank Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. At my school, we use surveys for just about everything, for coaches, for parents, for kids. And the information that comes back is almost always positive, but it also connects you with that squeaky wheel parent that likes to gripe about everything. Athletic Surveys will connect you to that squeaky wheel, but it'll also connect you to those 98% of the parents that love and support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking with a frustrated parent or your principal for your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that'll let you take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. That's athleticsurveys.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We're staying right here in Florida today, and we are truly talking with an old friend. Our guest today is Roy Howard. Roy is the athletic director at Crossroad Academy Charter. That's up in Florida's Panhandle in Quincy. I had the pleasure of, as an athletic director, working with Roy while I was at the McClay School. We've stayed in touch now, and he's doing a great job. Really built that program up there. And I'm excited to visit with him today. Roy Howard, welcome to the Educational AD Podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, we've had this on the books for a while, so excited to finally get you on. For our listeners, we are recording this on October 30th, so it's going to be very timely when you are listening to it. Roy, we always like to let our listeners have a chance to get to know our guests. So give us that quick bio, where you were born, where you grew up, maybe take us up through your own high school and college days, and then we'll hear more about your career. But what's the Roy Howard origin story?
Okay, so born in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to Tallahassee Community College, graduated from Florida State University, and then I went on and received my master's degree in athletic administration from Concordia University. This is my 22nd year here at Crossroad Academy. When I first started, we only had one basketball team, one team and one sport. Now I have advanced the program to 13 teams, and we have 6 sports. We have we have girls volleyball, JV and varsity, middle school. We have boys and girls soccer, and we have boys and girls basketball at the middle school level, and we have boys and girls track at the middle school level. At the high school level, we have, like I said, volleyball, and we do have, this is my first year implementing girls high school basketball, so we're excited about that. And our claim to fame has pretty much always been our boys basketball program. That's where we've found a lot of success at in basketball. So we have that, as well as girls flag football. And we're doing high school boys and girls track this year as well as baseball, which is a new sport that I'm implementing. Finally got enough guys to play, so we're going to start our first year ever baseball team this year. So those are the sports that we have here at Crossroad. Like I said, this is my 22nd year here at the school. I love the community. I love the kids that I work with. And so I'm just, as you can see, still here after 20-something years.
No, absolutely. I definitely want you to talk about your program, but let's talk about you a little bit more. Take me back to those high school JUCO days. What was it like growing up in the Panhandle? Your sports background. I always ask this question. Any memories from those days that at the time it really didn't make an impression, but now looking back with all your experience, that you could say, hey, that moment in high school, that moment in college, that was a significant moment for me. Anything stick out for you like that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because so I played baseball in high school at Rickers High School. It's funny because as an AD, that's the only sport that I've never coached or had anything to do with. We've never had a baseball program up until now. But I've coached basketball, I've coached track, soccer, all those different things. So it's kind of interesting, the question you just asked, because there hadn't been anything really that I can remember from high school that has probably prepared me, or anything that I can think of that's significant to what I'm doing now. I will say that growing up, and playing baseball in Tallahassee, it gave me the opportunity to definitely, get to know a lot of other people in the other schools who are now coaches as well. Some of them, some of these guys that I played with. I was very instrumental with the basketball team at my high school. My brother played basketball, and so I was one of those guys that kind of hung around a lot of the basketball players. And so when I was not playing baseball, that was a sport that I kind of latched on to. And so one of my football coaches kind of pulled me by the coattail and wanted me to come out and play football, but my baseball was my love, and so I continued to play that. Um, but yeah, as far as just back in high school, pulling out anything that kind of sticks out. I don't have much, Jake, to be honest with you. Like I said, I mean, I'm born and raised in Tallahassee, so I kind of made a name for myself, in the athletics in Tallahassee. I grew up playing, baseball at different parks, and I played a little football here and there. But for the most part, baseball was my thing, and so yeah, after Rickards, I did try out for TCC's team. I never forget they had implemented their program in 1990. And I actually tried out for team and I made it, but I had a job, full-time schedule, man. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of, thinking that it will probably take me further. So I didn't pursue it in high school. I mean, I'm sorry, in college. So yeah, that's just a little bit more about. I hope that answered your question a little bit.
No, absolutely. It's always interesting for me to hear the journey and the path that we all travel. Let's go and take that first break. Once again, for our listeners, our guest today is Roy Howard. He's the director of athletics at Crossroad Academy, and that's up in Florida's Panhandle. We're going to take that break, but we're coming back with some more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to thank our good friends at Snap Mobile for their support. Are you tired of spending hours and hours with fundraisers that take too much time and give you little, if any, return? Well, you need to stop right here and go to snapraise.com/EDAD. SnapRaise is hands down the best fundraising platform out there. We used it at my school with tremendous success. Our coaches loved it. Our parents loved it. And here's the best part. It actually works. They even have a program where they will give you your funding before you actually start your fundraiser. Nobody else does that. Go to snapraise.com/EDAD to find out more and also to check out their other platforms designed to help you do your job better. You're also automatically entered for a $1,500 drawing on your next SnapRaise fundraising activity. That's snapraise.com. We also want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check out their interactive touchscreen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the events, or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply share your school's proudest moments. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Once again, our guest is Roy Howard. He's the director of athletics at Crossroad Academy, and that's up in Florida's Panhandle. Roy, you took us up through your college days. Most of us, start our careers out, teaching and coaching. What was your early career like? What were some of the positions you had that led to your current position as the AD at Crossroad?
Absolutely. So at Florida State, my major was criminology. So what happened was I was in a juvenile justice role model program where we had to do anything, whatever we did, we had to do something related to working with kids. So it didn't necessarily need to be, in a criminal background or anything like that. It could be sports or something in that nature. And so that's actually how I actually got started in the Juvenile Justice Role Model Program. I latched on with YMCA, and my intern director told me, he said, yeah, as long as you do anything with kids, you should be good. That will suffice for what we need you to do here at Florida State. So during my time that I interned, I was the youth sports coordinator at that time. So I would come from my classes at Florida State, go to YMCA, and I can remember my first day there. The director told me, she said she needed me to go out and conduct flag football practice at one of the local elementary schools. And so, because one of the coaches did not show up, and at the time, a lot of the coaches were, of course, college students. So I went out there and I conducted practice or whatever, and then that was it. So the next day, I went back to my internship, and the lady said, hey, I need you to go back out to that school again and conduct flag football practice again, because the coach, still won't be able to show up today. So from the time that I parked my car and began to walk on the field, I mean, these kids just came running at me. And just showed me so much love. And I think at that point, that was the point where I said, oh, okay, I think I may be a coach. So, so I finished the program, finished the internship. And as a matter of fact, YMCA hired me on to become the summer camp director. And so in the summer camp, of course, there were a lot of different things that I did as far as with sports and things of that nature. So it was from that time where I started saying, well, hey, and here again, I'm in my senior year in college, and I'm getting ready to graduate, and my major is criminology, but I started to think like, oh, maybe I should change it. But, back when we were in college a long time ago, it was best to just go ahead and get the degree. Then once you get the degree, you can go ahead and try to, move and operate around that if you needed to. So, and that's exactly what I did. I took that criminology degree, I jumped into the school system, and I became a coach, or I became a teacher, a PE teacher. So my first job was at a Christian school in Tallahassee. I worked there for 3 years. And then after that, I got hired here in Quincy as the PE teacher and the boys basketball coach. So at that time, of course, I began coaching basketball, which was my first time ever coaching basketball in the middle school level. I did some other stuff with the YMCA, and like I said, with younger kids. But as far as middle school, that was my first year, which was 2001. 2001 is when I got the job here at Crossroad. So yeah, I once I began coaching, teaching, other opportunities became available, and I started a girls basketball team. And so we were successful. We did pretty good. We were in the old school, which is across the street. And so all we had was the outside court, We practiced there, and we played our games in the local recreation center. So, but, from doing basketball and just kind of looking at all the other sports the community was offering, that's what led me to, get us involved in more other sports. And so I implemented other sports such as soccer, track, and then, at the high school level, because at the time when I started working here, we were only kindergarten through 8th grade. And then now we're kindergarten through 12th grade, combination school. And so we've had high school now for about, the years are flying. So I'm gonna say probably about 7 or 8 years now, So once we did enter into, once we did implement high school sports, that's when we got involved with FHSAA. So of course, that was a time where I had a conversation with my principal and said, hey, with all this stuff going on with FHSAA, we're going to need an AD, you know what I mean? And so, of course, at that point, he chose me, as soon as I had a conversation with him. So from that point, I became the AD at Crossroad Academy, but it was just a stipend position. And so, of course, I had to still the duties of being a PE teacher and some of the other things. But once I became the part-time AD, I stopped coaching. And I think I still, to this day, I coach like girls flag football. And that's the only sport that I coached since I became the part-time AD. But now we have a girls flag football coach. I have coaches in all those positions. So I'm just going to sit back, of course, from now on, because This particular year here, I became a full-time AD. So this is my first year as a full-time AD and acting in that capacity because there's a lot. I'm an AD at the middle school level and at the high school level. We don't have that many sports as some of the other high schools do, but the ones that we do have, I mean, it definitely causes a workload that can keep me busy throughout my day. So that's my journey from going from teaching to coaching to being a part-time AD, and now I am a full-time AD.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And you and I got to know each other when I came to Maclay. I think that was 2014. Might have been 2015, but y'all were already playing at the middle school level, and our schools competed against each other. It was always great. Your coaches always did a great job. Your kids, very competitive, but great sportsmanship. When we saw y'all on the schedule, we weren't worried about anything, and you can't say that about a lot of schools. So it was always great to play you guys. Um,
Mhm.
Talk a little bit for our listeners about the challenges of building a program. Because again, you added the middle school sports, you were there adding the high school sports. What were some of the things that stick out for you that were maybe key things that you did to help build that program?
Well, I'll tell you, man, I mean, it's still a daily struggle, but one of the things that definitely stand out is the fact that we don't have any facilities here at my school. The only thing we have is a middle school gym. So that's the only thing we can play is middle school basketball at this gym. So I have to go out and contract and with different vendors in the community to actually, play our sports at their facility. So that's always been a challenge, and it's still a challenge to this day. We play our soccer games and our flag football games at the local high school here in Quincy. And we play all of our volleyball games away because, of course, like I said, we just have a middle school gym and it's not volleyball equipped. So that's a challenge from a volleyball standpoint because we can never really host any home games. And we play our high school basketball games at another high school located here in Quincy. They called it East Gaston and West Gaston, but now since both of those schools um, um, merged, now they just have one school, which is called Gaston High. However, West Gaston still has their campus. They operate now as a middle school. So, but it is a high school gym. So we play our high school basketball games there. Like I said, we play our soccer games and flag football games at the other high school, which is East Gaston. And then all of our, volleyball games are away. I'm going to look into definitely possibly trying to get us to play our volleyball games where we actually play our high school basketball games at. Another one of the challenges is, just space and room for our teams to practice, especially basketball. That's been a big challenge. Of course, we have middle school basketball, boys and girls, and we've had, boys basketball, JV and varsity for the longest. And this is my first year, like I said, doing high school girls basketball. So that has definitely been a challenge, just, finding a place to play. It's tough. I mean, because in the community, our school is one of those schools that, people are just not, jumping up and down to kind of help out. So, there's some things that I have to do. Of course, I have to establish, a good rapport with the people here in the community so that we can continue to use those facilities until we get, our facilities built up, which we're in the process of doing. We are currently, we just closed on the new gym. So they're about to actually start getting the parking lot situated for that so that they can get the gym in place, because where the gym is going to be at our school, it's currently a parking lot. So they're actually getting ready to start on that next Monday, from what I understand. Restructure that so that the ground can get to a point where we can put the gym in that space. So there's been some challenges for sure, Jake. Like I said, there are a lot of the community is one of those where you have people that are willing to help, but at the same time too, the help is not always plentiful. So it's definitely a challenge on in that regard. But for the most part, I think those have been my biggest challenges in terms of trying to get this program built. Is just finding places for us to play. There have been other sports that I looked into, such as golf and different things like that. I tried to start that this year, but like I said, that's a challenge too because the closest golf course is probably 15 minutes away from here. So. But yeah, for the most part, just finding facilities is been my biggest challenge here as an AD.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, you've done a tremendous job of building up that program and having success, with the teams that you're sponsoring. Great job. Appreciate you sharing that. For our listeners, one more time, our guest today is Roy Howard. He's the athletic director at Crossroad Academy. That's in Quincy, Florida, up in the Panhandle. We're going to take another break, but we're coming back with some more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame for their support of the podcast. Go to their website, vitalsignswalloffame.com, and check out their interactive touch screen. That's right, touch screen video consoles. It's a great way to show off your school record boards for all the teams, for all the sports, or your school's Hall of Fame, or simply tell the story about your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Let them know you heard about it on the podcast. They'll give you a nice discount. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more support, more security, and more customization. Hometown's team will show you how to set up and sell tickets online for all your events, not just athletics, but things like school plays and concerts, school dances, even graduation. And here's the best part. Every school is assigned a dedicated client success manager that's going to provide you hands-on support every step of the way. That's every step of the way. Go to hometownticketing.com. It's digital ticketing that offers more. And we want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com and change the way you see the game. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school, and our volleyball coaches, basketball coaches, soccer coaches, they all love the tools that Huddle provided that helped them coach our kids up to their highest level. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Join the 8 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Roy, one of the things that we like to do is allow our guests to kind of share their journey with the state association and with the national organization. So talk a little bit about how did you first find out? We're in Florida, of course. How did you find out about FIAAA? How did you get involved with the national organization?
Yeah, sure. So definitely by being a member of FHSAA, the different things that we had to do to stay in compliance with that, of course, kind of open the doors up for me to be an FIAAA member, which I'm so glad I became. And of course, with my good friend Jake Boncher right here, just communicating with him about FIAAA gave me more and more a chance to dig into it and see what it was about and how could it benefit my school and me as an athletic director as well. And I think I've been a part of FIAAA now for, I want to say 7 years, I think. And of course, that led me to, become a member with NIAAA, which I am been a member with them now for probably about 5 years, kind of on and off with NIAAA. However, one good thing about the memberships this year is I am actually in a position where I'm about to take the CAA exam. So hopefully I'll get that passed and get that and become a certified athletic administrator. And I see that the NIAAA is hosting their conference here in Florida for the first time. So, well, I'm not going to say the first time, but since I've been a part of NIAAA, it's
Right.
always been, kind of in cities that I just can kind of get to. However, back to FIAAA, I attend FIAAA conferences every year. I enjoy them. I gain a lot of information from them. There's always some takeaways every year that you go. There's always some things you can bring back to, benefit your organization and my program, and it definitely has. I will be in attendance at the NIAAA in Orlando in December, and I will be back in attendance at the FIAAA in Orlando in May. But I think those are definitely two great organizations that any AD should become a part of, because, like I said, it's tough being an AD, man. I mean, a lot of people don't know, a lot of people don't understand everything that we deal with, but it's always good to have, somewhere you can, go to and kind of, get some stuff to put in your toolkit, and keep around so that you can, toolbox, I meant to say, but yeah, it's a great organization, man. I mean, like I said, I'm always coming back with something that I learned. The LTC courses, LTI courses, I took those. Well, not those, because there are several that have come out now, but I took the main five um, back probably about 3, 4 years ago. So I found those to be very, very helpful. And again, it's courses that I think every AD should probably take. Of course, to definitely enhance your credentials and continue to put you in a good position as an AD. I think that I will continue to take more LTC courses. Anything that can help me, man, in my day to day as an AD, I'm willing to do. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey when it came to being involved as a member of FHSAA, FIAAA, as well as the NIAAA. I recently, 2 years ago, and this is outside of high school athletics, because my master's degree, allows me to work at the high school level as well as the college level. So I'm now also a member with NACDA, which is the National Athletic Collegiate Directors Athletics Association. I went to a conference out in Vegas 2 years ago, and then they had their conference in Orlando last summer, and I attended that in June. So, I'm trying to gain as much knowledge as I can, not only at the high school level, but at the collegiate level as well. But yeah, those three organizations, I think they're great organizations to be a part of, and I'm just glad that to have people, in my circle, such as Jake, to definitely help me stay abreast of what's going on with FIAAA, and to keep me motivated going every year.
Well, thank you for those kind words. Again, you had the motivation. You reached out, and we knew each other from our schools competing, so it was easy to share. Roy, I'm going to put you on the spot. You've taken those required LTI courses to sit for the exam. Looking back at those courses, and again, if you're unfamiliar with the LTI courses, these are 4-hour courses, very in-depth in a number of areas. Looking back at those courses, were there any that really, even to this day, stick out for you as like, wow, I didn't realize that as an athletic director? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, honestly, Jake, all of them. All of those courses, I mean, just to gain the knowledge and the different things that an AD has to put up with, and of course add to their daily schedule, is those courses are just beneficial. I can just tell you that. Like I said, I mean, I can't quite remember the names of most of them, but I know I took 501, 502, I think 503 through 506. As a matter of fact, I have 5 of them that I took. But back when I took them, of course, they were, like you said, 4 hours long, and I took all of mine actually at the FIAAA conference. So, but yeah, they were definitely courses that were very beneficial. There were courses that most people will probably find that there's something, a lot of times we think by playing sports, a lot of times we think we can probably jump in the AD position and it'll be a smooth sail. But no, you definitely need those courses, to keep you abreast on everything that's going on. So yeah, I hope I answered that question, Jake.
No, absolutely. You bring up a great point, whether it's with, coaches or with ADs, the expression, you don't know what you don't know, is so true. And you mentioned that nobody understands what an AD does except another athletic director, which, makes the networking component so important. Let's go and help with that networking right now. If one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit. Listeners, I think you got a great resource here. Roy has really built and nurtured this program at Crossroad. What's the best way that one of our listeners can reach out and connect with you?
Sure. My email is Howard R at gcpsmail.com. And they can also reach me by cell if they want. My cell phone number is 850-559-3332.
Okay. We're going to give that information out again at the end of the podcast. Also, for our NIAAA members, Roy's information is in the NIAAA membership portal. So check it out. We're visiting with Roy Howard from Crossroad Academy. We're going to take another quick break. I know that's shocking to our regular listeners, but we're coming back with some more. So please stay with us. This is the Educational AD Podcast. We want to say thank you to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards for their support of the podcast. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule a live web demo, and see their scoreboards and their score tables in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made was our Sideline Interactive indoor score table. Of course, we use it for home games, but we also used it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. Their products are tremendously versatile, and their customer service is just outstanding. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. That's sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank Home Campus. Go to homecampus.com. It's the exclusive high school and state association management platform for us. It's also your one-stop platform for things like scheduling, student athlete eligibility and clearance, and a whole lot more. As an athletic director, I used Home Campus every single day, and it was just fantastic, and you're going to love it too. To get signed up, all you have to do is go to homecampus.com. That's homecampus.com. Welcome back, everyone, to the Educational AD Podcast. Roy, one of the things that we try to do at the podcast is this idea of sharing best practices with other athletic directors. So I'm going to put you on the spot. What are some things that you do at Crossroad that you're particularly proud of, that you would consider a best practice to share with others? Anything come to mind?
Yeah, Jake, I would probably say scheduling. I would probably say scheduling because, like I said, that's tough. I have to schedule for. I think I do it very well, though. I mean, because it's tough, and a lot of people don't realize how tough scheduling can be. I'm scheduling games on the middle school level as well as on the high school level. I'm also, not only am I the AD, but I'm also the bus driver for the teams. So I have to make sure that when I schedule games, that they're not going to be conflicting with one another, so that I can get each team to their respective games. This year is going to be a bit more of a challenge because we have a high school girls basketball team now. So and as a matter of fact, I was just doing that probably about 2 hours ago, trying to get all those things, all the bus trips in, getting all the games scheduled, and making sure that and as well as scheduling the referees, because that's tough as well, and making sure that we have our referees at every game. So yeah, that's one of the things that I will consider as a best practice of mine. Not only that, communication, which is tough, that Communication, I think, is one of my other best practices, but it's also a huge challenge. I mean, I try to definitely communicate with my coaches, verbally as well as through text. A lot of times we have meetings probably twice a month. I will have we'll have a group meeting, of course, once a month. But can you hold on just 1 second? Come in. Man, I'm busy, man. What you hear me doing? So yeah, that's one of the things I definitely find that has been challenging is when it comes to communication because a lot of times we send out things in Remind or in a group chat, and we want all of our coaches to actually um, be on the same page. So a lot of times I tell my coaches, just shoot me a thumbs up, you know what I mean? Just to let me know you got the message, you know what I mean? Because if you're not face to face with them, you know what I mean? Communication can, and even being face to face, communication can still be a struggle and can still be a challenge. But I do think that's one of the things that I have done well in terms of communicating with my coaches and the parents and the players, as well as officials and things of that nature. But those are two I would say, Jake. Yeah, they're definitely probably my best practices here at Crossroad as an AD.
Now, and I can certainly speak to that as an athletic director that worked with you from another school. The game times and bus arrivals and, what game it was. Was it a middle school game, a JV game? Always very efficient, very well done. Like I said, there's some schools out there that are on your schedule and you're going, gosh, are they going to show up or are there going to be officials or what's going on? We never had that
Right.
issue with Crossroad. You always did such a great job. Um, can you think of an example? Again, I'm putting you on the spot here. You mentioned parents. Um, can you think of an example where your communication with either an individual parent or just parents in general on a team um, help prevent a mix up or a misunderstanding? It's a minefield out there, but can you think of an example where something you did with communication helped prevent that mishap?
Um, yeah, I can remember one time where a parent, of course, thought she, was communicating with the coach effectively, and somewhere the ball got dropped. You know what I mean? The parent thought the game was at one particular place, and the game was at another place, and she had the time and everything mixed up as well. I was actually out on my route, of course. I do a bus route after school, and then I come back and pick up the teams, and then I take them. However, so as I'm driving, I can't get on the phone. So anyway, once I got back to the school, I was able to find that parent, call her, and just kind of guide her through everything that she needed to know. I text her the address. um, but yeah, that's probably, I mean, there's been other situations, Jake, of course, when it comes to communicating, but anything that stood out as far as me probably correcting that problem. And I'll tell you this, that what I just described, that happens all the time. I would think that my coaches have, and they have, I'll say that, but a lot of times parents, something's going on with their phones. They may not have a phone or information. I send home information on paper, as well as we communicate through Remind and through group chats and different things like that. But it's back to your question though, just finding a demonstration or an example of something that I did to probably help with communication or either scheduling. And of course, I've made some adjustments, to some schedules because we do it all the time. A lot of times, a coach will call you and say, "Hey, we can't play this particular day. Can you play another day?" And I've actually done that myself. Especially by playing at other people's places, at other venues. So there's always that challenge and that struggle of making sure that scheduling is fine tuned and everybody is on the same page. However, though, back to that example, if in the near future, with those type of things continue to happen, all of my, when I have my parent meetings, I give all my parents my phone number. I tell them to communicate with their coaches first. However, most of the times parents are going to communicate with who they're comfortable with. So, I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of texts, and so, of course, as ADs, we're here to put out fires. And so, that's something that I can say that has been some examples that have stood out to where, I've actually had to step in, put some fires out, and just kind of keep communication lines open and effective.
Yeah, as an athletic director, you can certainly attest to this. Every day when you come to your office, if you don't have that voicemail, you don't have that email from that upset parent, obviously you're doing something right. The communication is there. Uh, Roy, this has been cool
Absolutely.
catching up with you a little bit. Obviously, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person down at the national conference in a couple of months, but we're not done
Definitely.
yet. We always wrap up with the athletic director's toolbox. So we're going to take our final break here from Athletic Surveys, who sponsored this segment. When we come back, we're going to challenge Roy to send out a brand new athletic director on the very first job, but I'm only going to let him put 3 things in the toolbox. So let's listen to Athletic Surveys. And when we come back, we're going to find out what Roy Howard is going to put into his new athletic director toolbox. This is the Educational AD Podcast. Hey, we want to thank Athletic Surveys for sponsoring the Athletic Toolbox segment of the podcast. Athletic surveys are a quick, easy, and an affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve every aspect of your program. At my school, we use surveys for just about everything: kids, coaches, parents, and the information that came back was almost always over the top positive. But we also got to hear from those squeaky wheel parents, the ones that want to gripe about everything. And that allowed us to take a look at a problem and keep it from turning into a big problem because we didn't know about it. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that allows you to take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. They're going to connect you to the squeaky wheels, but they're also going to connect you to the 98% that support your program. And that's a tremendously valuable tool to have when you're talking to a frustrated parent or your principal or your school board. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. Well, it's that time of the podcast. We have been visiting, as I said, with an old friend, Roy Howard. He's the director of athletics at Crossroad Academy Charter. That's in Quincy, Florida, up in the Panhandle. Our schools had the pleasure of competing against one another for a few years while I was the AD at a neighboring school. But right now, I'm going to challenge Roy to send out a brand new athletic director on their very first job. But I'm only going to let him put 3 things in the toolbox. So, Roy, what 3 items are going to go into your new athletic director toolbox?
I think for one, relationship building is one of the ones I'll definitely have to put in there because, in this profession, you definitely have to have a good rapport and establish relationships, with several different people. Like as I said before, coaches, parents, officials, community members, board members. At my school is ran by a board, so I try to definitely make sure that I have an effective relationship with them as well. And any donation, any sponsors, I'm sorry, for people that may help donate, from year in and year out. So yeah, definitely relationship building is something I would encourage people to keep in their toolbox. The other thing I would say is make sure that you are aware of the hiring process in terms of good coaches are hard to find. They really are, you know what I mean? But at the same time, too, we as ADs can help shape and mold, coaches into good coaches. Because a lot of people think that, okay, yeah, because I played the game, I can coach the game, and then become, an AD. But at the same time, too, as a good AD will continue to seek, good coaches and continue to shape and mold his coaches into becoming good coaches, which can, also be a challenge as well. So yeah, hiring hiring good coaches and just making sure that establish that relationship, and so that they are aware that how effective professional development is, as an AD and as a coach. That will go a long way for them in that particular profession. The third one, which is most important, and is a big challenge for me as well, as patience. Um, you got to have some patience in this profession. I mean, you're gonna have challenges every day. Today is my first day that the middle school boys and girls soccer and basketball teams are playing. So I've already had several calls from parents, several kids coming in the office, asking me what I need. I forgot this, or, how can my parents get to the game? You're going to have teachers, asking, okay, where should these kids go to get dressed for the game? The principal is going to need to know everything about what's going on a daily basis when it comes to your games. But yeah, patience is big. Please put that in your toolbox, because we need it. I hop up every morning and take my high blood pressure pill, so that's helping. But at the same time too, just develop. And over the years, I can tell you this, that I've had to learn to get to that point, because I was definitely never one of those people that were patient. And so, but just being a teacher, for one, has helped me with my patience level. And then of course transitioning to a coach, it helped as well. And but definitely now as an AD, I have to have that same sense of patience, to fulfill this job successfully, because I want to continue to build on the program. I want to add more sports. I want to become this really good AD. I mean, I try to strive in any profession to be the best at it, or if not be the best at it, do the best job I can while I'm doing it. So yeah, those three, relationship building, making sure you're hiring good coaches, and prepping them for everything that it takes to be a good coach, and as well as developing some patience. I think those three, every athletic director needs to put into their toolbox.
Well, you probably saw me writing those down. It's so very true. The relationship building, and you mentioned a couple times during the interview, so critical with parents, with kids, with coaches, with your administrators, with boosters, and that patience component. I love how you threw in the blood pressure medication. I think that should probably be standard for all athletic directors. And just very, very cool stuff. Roy, thanks so much for sharing today. One more time, if one of our listeners wants to reach out, pick your brain a little bit more, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. Again, they can reach me at Howard R at gcpsmail.com. And they can also contact me by my cell, 850-559-3332. And if you guys don't have it, make sure you go out and get it. But you got to get Jake's book. It is sitting right here on my desk, and I thumb through it to try and help me out with my daily task as an AD. So I'm so glad to have it. I think everyone should go get it. But again, yeah, you can definitely reach me at that address, as well as that phone number.
Well, thanks for that shout out, Roy. And as long as you open that door, your toolbox suggestions are going to be part of the third and probably the final edition of the Athletic Director's Toolbox. So, I've enjoyed doing the interviews. I enjoy listening to the tools. Hopefully the tools have been valuable to listeners, but the third edition is coming out probably around December 1st, just in time for the national conference, which, Roy, you and I are both going to be at. Let's make sure we connect down there.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you, Jake.
Right back at you, my friend. And all the best with the rest of the fall season, which is wrapping up, and the beginning of the winter season here in Florida. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, Jake.
For our listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in and just remind you we upload the Zoom recordings to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. Come back next week for another great interview, just about every day for new content on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.